the Korean War started in '49, and my brother was drafted. And he was a tank operator, a tank corps operator in Korea. And he suggested I not go in the Army. So I decided to go in the Navy, but I went a little premature. The day I was 17, I signed up. My mother signed for me. She didn't want to. And my dad and her was divorced, and I said, well, I could go get my dad to sign for me. So she said, well, if you insist, I'll sign. So we went to boot camp in San Diego for 9 weeks. I think it's primarily supposed to be 11 weeks, but they was in a hurry then. 9 weeks, and we was out. They sent a bunch of us right out of boot camp to Astoria, Oregon, with a mothball fleet, a little bitty amphibious gunboats, or ships. And our job was to take them over after the civilians take them out of mothballs and put them in service to take them to South Korea Navy. And it was on a Lend-Lease project. Well, when the civilians got the ships what was supposed to be seaworthy, we took them out for a few days out of Astoria, Oregon, and just steamed around out there a while to see what needed to be fixed, something they missed. Well, they missed a few things. We came back in, they fixed them, patched them or whatever, and then we went down the coast at San Diego and stayed there a few more weeks while they fixed and patched other things, fuel, food, whatever. And the next one was all the way at 12 knots an hour. 12 knots is what it was, all the way across to San Diego, to Pearl Harbor. Stayed there a couple of weeks. And then we went to Midway Island. Every time we had to fix something, every time, because he'd been out of commission for 5, 6 years. And it was a piece of junk when they started, and they didn't ever get any better. Anyway, we tied them alongside of a pier in Sasebo, Japan, and I never saw them again. And then they split us all up here and there. Some went to this, some went to that. I went to an AKA 104 USS Seminole for the rest of my time. And our job was to supply the forces in Korea. We took everything from lettuce to tanks. Didn't make any difference what they needed over there, we took it. So most of our job was in the ocean running back and forth between Korea to Seattle, Washington mainly. Load up, take it over and dump it, come back to Seattle and get some more. Sometime we'd go into San Francisco, a few times we went into San Diego, but 9/10 of the times it was back and forth to Seattle. And we took our boats and landed Marines, landed tanks. I mean, no tanks, because ours was too small tanks was too large for those boats. They went on LSTs. But everything else, from the big trucks to tanks to whatever, we hauled it. But it took so long to unload our ships that most of the time on the big machinery type stuff, we pulled beside a pier in Busan, Korea, unloaded in Busan. But there's many times we had to unload soldiers, Marines, up and down the coast, pick up ones that cut off and take them back to the States or whatever, take them to hospital ships or whatever. And we just supplied everything they needed, I guess. And 9/10 of the time, or maybe nearly 10/10 of the time, we didn't know where we was at. Us seamen didn't. The officers knew where we was at and what we were doing, but we didn't. We just did what we was told and go, you know. That's just part of it. And other than that, I don't know what else to say. It's just back and forth across that ocean. I don't know how many times we went back and forth across through the Aleutian Islands,